What is the difference between above, over, across, and through? Watch this video to find out. Hello, my name is Maddie from Piece of Cake English, and in this lesson, we're going to talk about the differences between across, through, above, and over. You know, it is often difficult to understand which one to use in a sentence and what does each one of them mean. Now, first of all, let's talk about the position. Now, when we want to talk about the position of something and say that something is higher than something else, we can use both above and over. For example, look at the picture. There is a helicopter and there is a lake. Now, where is the helicopter? Is it over the lake or is it above the lake? Well, it's higher than the lake. And when you want to say that something is higher than something else, you can use both above and over. So, where is the helicopter? It's above the lake. It's over the lake. Both of them are correct. Or here is another example. We stepped in the river and the water came up higher than our knees. Now again here, the water came up higher than our knees, so we can say the water came up above our knees or over our knees while we were walking in the river. If something is higher than something else, but is not directly over it, it's here, not here, we say above. For example, there is a house above the lake. Here's a lake, here's a house. Where's the house? It's above the lake. It's not over the lake. It's not flying. It's not an alien house flying over the lake. No. It's above the lake. It means it's higher than the lake, but it's not directly over the lake. It's above the lake. If something covers something else, here we use over. For example, if there are clouds covering the city, we say there are clouds over the city. If you have a cake and then you pour chocolate to cover the surface of the cake, you pour the chocolate over the cake because it's covering it. If you're wearing a t-shirt and it's really cold and then you wear a jacket, you are wearing the jacket over your t-shirt because your jacket is covering your t-shirt. So if something is covering something else, we use over. There are clouds over the city. I'm pouring chocolate over the cake. I'm wearing a coat over my t-shirt. When we are talking about measurements, we use above. For example, when we are measuring the temperature of the room, we say it's 23 degrees above zero. We don't say over zero because we are talking about the temperature. And when we talk about the temperature, we say above. So it's 23 degrees above zero. This is also true for speed. When we are measuring the speed of something, we say above. This is also true about height. When we are measuring the height of something, we say above. For example, the peak of Mount Everest is 8,000 meters above sea level. The peak of Everest, the summit of Mount Everest, is 8,000 meters above sea level. It means higher than sea level. However, when we are talking about age, we use over. You have to be over 18 to watch this film. You cannot watch it if you are not 18 and over. So with age, we use over. In some countries, you can't drink alcohol unless you are over 20 years old. So for ages, we say over. This is also true for speed. For example, the car was going at over 100 miles per hour, or the airplane was moving at over 900 miles per hour. So for age and for speed, we use over. For height and for temperature, we use above. When you want to say more than a number, we use over. For example, more than 1,000 people were invited to the party. Instead of more than 1,000 people, you can say over 1,000 people were invited to the party. Over 1,000 people. This is especially true for numbers. Over a number means more than that number. Here we don't use above, we say over. Or, it cost me more than $100 to repair my laptop. Here, instead of more than $100, you can say over $100. It cost me over $100 to fix my laptop. So far, we've been talking about the position of something. If something is higher than something else. If something is moving at a certain speed. So these are about the states, the positions. However, when we are talking about movement, we can also use over. For example, the plane was flying over Denmark. The plane was flying. It's a movement. You see, the plane is moving. It's not just staying there. It's not a helicopter. It's moving. So the plane is flying over Denmark. So this is Denmark. This is the plane. The plane is flying over Denmark. When talking about movement, instead of over, you can also say across. That's the second part of this lesson. What's the difference between across and over? Both across and over mean to the other side or in the other side of something else. There is a street, in the other side of the street. There is a river, in the other side of the river. There is a border, in the other side of the border. There is a lake, other side of the lake. Desert, other side of the desert. So both across and over mean other side of something. The town is just across the border. Here's a border. Here's the town. And I'm here. Where's the town? It's just across the border. You can also say it's just over the border. Or there is a thin river and you say, hey, can you jump over the river? Or can you jump across the river? It means can you go to the other side of the river? However, there are some differences. Now, if you are talking about the other side of something high, for example, a wall, we use over and not across. For example, there is a wall. Can you climb over the wall? Because wall is high, so we use over. Can you climb over the wall? Here we don't say across. Can you climb across the wall? That's not correct because you're not going across it. You're going over the wall. However, if you were talking about something flat and not tall, something flat like a lake or like a desert, you say across and not over. For example, I'm walking across the desert. I'm not walking over desert. I'm walking across the desert. Or I'm swimming across the lake because desert and lake are flat. So we say across. But the wall is high. So we say over. So, quiz time. Let's see if you have learned the lesson so far. Look at these three sentences. Number 1, he walked the bridge. Number 2, he swam the lake. And number 3, he walked the woods. Again, number 1, he walked the bridge. Number 2, he swam the lake. And number 3, he walked the woods. Let's fill in the gaps with the correct preposition. So, number 1, he walked the bridge. We're talking about movement here. And the bridge, is it high or is it flat? It's high. When we are talking about movement and we are talking about something high, we say over. He walked over the bridge. Well done. Number 2, he swam the lake. Again, we're talking about movement because swimming is a movement, right? He swam across the lake or over the lake. Lake is not high, it's flat. So we use across. He swam across the lake. Number 3, he walked the woods. Now, the woods means the jungle, the forest, right? When you are in the jungle, in front of you, you have the trees. On your sides, you're surrounded by the trees. Above you, you have the tree canopy, right? So you are inside a 3-dimensional space. You are surrounded by the space. What should I say? He walked over the woods. Does he have wings? Can he fly over the woods? No. He walked across the woods. Is the woods a flat surface? There are lots of trees. A lake is flat, but the woods are not flat. So what do we say? Well, in this case, we say he walked through the woods. Wait, what's the difference between across and through? And that is the third part of this lesson. We use across when we are talking about a flat surface, across the desert, across the lake, across the street, across the river. However, when we are talking about a 3-dimensional space, a space in which you are surrounded by it, we use through. For example, the woods. When you are in the woods, you have trees all around you. There is tree canopy above your head, right? And you are going through it because you are inside the woods. You are surrounded by the environment. Another example, which is more tangible, is the tunnel. So you are driving your car and you reach a tunnel. When you enter the tunnel, there is the ceiling above you and there are the walls around you. And there is the road beneath you. So you are inside the area. You are inside the environment. You are surrounded by it. Here we say through. Go through the tunnel. Go through the woods. Or imagine you are traveling. There is a road. And then there is a city in the middle of the road. You don't go around the city. You decide to go through the city. Because the city has lots of buildings. And you are inside it. It's not flat. There are many buildings. You go through the city, through the tunnel, through the woods. However, if it's flat, like a lake, like a desert, like a road, like a river, we say across. And if it is high, we say over. Okay, now, before we get to some very cool examples, if you enjoyed the lesson, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to my channel, click subscribe and turn on notifications. Now, look at this picture. So there is a city, there are some clouds, and then there is an airplane. Where are the clouds? Are they above the city, over the city, across the city, through the city? Which one? Well, the clouds are covering the city. When something is covering something else, we use over. The clouds are over the city, right? Now, look at the plane. Where is the plane? Is it over the clouds, above the clouds? Where is it? Or is it across the clouds or through the clouds? Now, when we want to say that something is higher than something else, remember, we can use both above and over. So the plane is above the clouds. The plane is over the clouds. Both of them are okay. Where are the clouds? The clouds are over the city because the clouds are covering the city. Great. Look at the next picture. There is a lake. There is a boat going from one side of the lake to the other side of the lake. Where is the boat going? Is it going over the lake or across the lake? Or through the lake? Lake is a flat surface, and for flat surfaces we say across. It's going across the lake. Now look at the next picture. There is a tunnel and there is a train going in the tunnel. Now, is it going across the tunnel, through the tunnel, or over the tunnel? Well, the train is surrounded by the tunnel, right? So we say through the tunnel. And look at the last picture. There's a guy walking the bridge. Through the bridge, over the bridge, or across the bridge? Well, bridge is high. And when we're talking about something high, we use over. He's walking over the bridge. And that is the end of this lesson. Don't forget to practice.